So, I don't think Marvel can fix what they did at the end of No Way Home.
You're gonna forget who I am.
I genuinely think they wanted to. I think they sat down and wrote this movie, got halfway through the script and realized, yeah, this is not gonna work. So let's just start undoing the ending. And that's what Brand New Day feels like. It doesn't feel like the next chapter. It feels like a film that's constantly looking over its shoulder, trying to reverse one of the boldest decisions they made. At the end of No Way Home, Peter Parker lost everything. MJ, Ned, Happy, his entire life. For the first time, Tom Holland's Spider-Man finally felt like Peter Parker. No Avengers, no instant solution, just a lonely kid in New York making the hardest decision of his life. He chose everyone else's happiness and safety over his own. And that's a great ending. That's a Spider-Man ending. But Marvel clearly didn't look ahead. Committing to that ending means you got a very lonely Spider-Man. No friends, no girlfriend, no family, no support system. And that's a much harder movie to write. So instead, Brand New Day spends most of the running time slowly trying to put the pieces back together. It kicks off with Spider-Man investigating a series of attacks. There's a runaway tank, the DODC facilities getting hijacked, and these mind-controlled civilians everywhere. And instead of immediately dragging Peter into another multiverse disaster, the movie lets us just hang out with him. Just Spider-Man, in the suit, trying to solve the mystery, following clues, investigating, and it's great. The suit barely comes off, we're hanging out with Spider-Man instead of Peter. It almost feels like a detective story, and visually, I think it's the best Spider-Man, because there's long shots of Spider-Man just walking around in full costume, head to toe. It feels real, doesn't feel like a CGI animated Spider-Man. There's no crappy CGI tint. You can actually feel the weight of his body, the creases in the suit. It's physical, it's grounded, and honestly, Tom Holland looks great as Spider-Man. Whether it's him in the suit all the time doesn't matter. Feels like him. MJ and Ned, seeing them again works emotionally. Tom, Zendaya and Jacob have got great chemistry. They've built it over the years, so when Peter sees them again, yeah, we're right there with him. We want them back together, but the reason the scenes work a lot of the time from an emotional point of view is because there's constant flashbacks of the other films, and we get to see what they used to have and what they don't have anymore. But that's kind of the point, right? It's supposed to be sad. That's what No Way Home took away. And the more this movie tries to reverse it, the less meaningful it is. Peter ends up stalking them, follows Ned, tries to get back into their lives, and it's just a bit too easy. I mean, how do you even get back into their lives? Imagine trying to reintroduce yourself to the love of your life. And she has absolutely no idea who you are, so where do you begin? So what they do is they threaten MJ's life. Works every time. Peter's been holding this letter that he wrote for her for 3 or 4 years now. He's just keeping hold of it for some reason. They got MJ hiding in Frank's safe house, and Peter accidentally leaves the letter he wrote for her. Leaves it on the table. Maybe his left side of the brain wasn't working or something, but he goes out and MJ finds the letter. Probably the worst way for her to discover the truth. She reads this letter from someone she doesn't remember, tells her they were in love, that he sacrificed everything, basically lived a different life, and then she forgot him. How do you ever stop thinking about that? Her being so smart, so curious, this would absolutely consume her. Every relationship she'd have after this, every memory, every strange feeling, she'd be constantly wondering whether her life was missing something. Peter would basically be living rent-free in her head forever. Any boyfriends that she has, they would never win an argument. Because she could have been Spider-Man's girlfriend. They're lucky to have her. That's the way it is. And let's not forget Ned. Now, I don't mind a reach sometimes. In fact, I love a reach, but Peter does this handshake and it triggers something in Ned. So how do they... It would be impossible, right, for him to remember. You know what, who cares? It's the best scene in the entire movie.
Peter.
So the big reveal is Jean Grey. And honestly, the reveal itself isn't a problem, but it's what happens after the reveal. For most of the movie, this body-hopping villain is absolutely ruthless, killing people, manipulating innocent civilians, taking over their minds, willing to destroy anyone who gets in her way, and never really hesitate. Genuinely intimidating and scary. You think Spider-Man has met his match, but then the mask comes off, and it's Jean Grey, Sadie Sink. And suddenly, the movie sort of changes a bit. Almost instantly, she's not presented as this terrifying force anymore. She's sort of misunderstood, and we're supposed to feel sorry for her. And of course Peter does, because Peter always wants to help, and he does help her. He risks his life for her. And the whole time I'm thinking, didn't she just kill that guy? Didn't she kill all those police officers? Didn't she just try and throw MJ off a building? I guess we're good now, right? Tom Holland's Peter is around 30 now. He's been Spider-Man for a good while. He's fought aliens, multiverse villains. He's watched people die. He's sacrificed everything. And he's still making the same mistakes. The DODC director is so obviously lying to you that you can practically hear the villain music every time he walks into the room. And Peter still falls for it. At some point, you gotta learn to read people, man. Especially when you're supposed to be one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. That's always been Peter's thing. He's a genius. I genuinely like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. The emotional moments with him, they all work. And the way he plays this is very believable. He's older now. He looks more tired, more jaded. He's less of the hyperactive teenager. He still has the charm, but it feels worn down now. Like the weight of being Spider-Man is finally starting to show. Peter sacrificed everything at the end of No Way Home. His friends, girlfriend, identity, the future. And then this movie comes along and goes, nah, we're back, baby. It's just a bit of a shame that Peter hasn't really changed much. He still believes everyone can be saved. He still trusts the wrong people. He still makes emotional decisions instead of practical ones. And yeah, Spider-Man should absolutely believe in redemption. That's who he is. No Way Home forced Peter to choose being Peter Parker or Spider-Man, keeping the people he loves or protecting them. It was painful, it was unfair, but that's what made it such a powerful ending. Brand New Day spends 2 hours and 20 minutes trying to reverse that decision, because Peter missed MJ. He missed Ned. And I don't blame him. I missed them too. But why make him sacrifice them in the first place? You can't make a film and then the next film is about fixing the last film. And also I can't help but shake the feeling that Marvel's building or rebuilding towards something else again. We got the Punisher, Hulk, Jean Grey, all these new pieces suddenly coming together. Now with all that said, I don't actually think it's a bad movie. In fact, I think it's one of the best looking MCU Spider-Man films, in fact. The visual style's a huge improvement. Colors are warmer, New York actually feels alive again. The camera spends more time with real locations, practical movements and long shots instead of just drowning everything in a flat grey MCU CGI. But no matter how good the action is or how much better the movie looks, I couldn't stop thinking about No Way Home because stories only matter if their choices matter. Peter Parker finally made the hardest decision of his life. He chose everyone else over himself. And Brand New Day basically spends almost the entire movie trying to convince us that maybe he didn't really have to.